how I love to clean filthy cat boxes!
If you'd like to commission a knick-knack sample platter, instructions in the description below. Oftentimes, when a work is successful, we deem that as a good thing. Hooray! Such and such artist or author or filmmaker or band or whatever created something that resonated with audiences. They made something that became popular and or financially viable and or culturally significant. Here's a pat on the back. Have a cigar. Good job, sport. But while that success is great in the moment, it can also lock an artist or author or filmmaker or band or whatever into a certain track that isn't sustainable. Oh, this was successful. Now we have to do that same kind of thing again and again until it destroys us. And I don't think there's a clearer example of this than Stimpy's invention.
Today on Ren and Stimpy, Stimpy unveils his new diabolical invention. What is it? And what power does it possess over Ren's mind? Find out on Ren and Stimpy. They're Nicktoons, today on Nickelodeon.
Black Hole / Stimpy's Invention is the 6th and final episode of the Ren and Stimpy show's first season, originally airing on February 23rd, 1992. The first segment, Black Hole, is the third of the show's 4 space adventures, seeing Ren and Stimpy sucked into the titular black hole and spat out into a weird dimension, which twists and warps their bodies as they wander about. Basically an excuse to do weird things for a show that's never needed an excuse to do weird things. This stuff isn't more off-model than usual.
Cadet Stimpy and myself have set out for the mysterious distant mountain.
It's fine, but it's no Stimpy's invention. Directed by John Kay, written by John Kay and Bob Camp, the short sees Stimpy's demonstrating a number of inventions for Ren, like a phone that lets you talk to cheese, and a long-range shaving device. Ren has no patience for Stimpy's nonsense, though the socks that stand up on their own seems promising.
It's amazing! How do they work? They're full of glue! I'm so glad you like them, Ren. Wait here. I'll go get the stay-put hat and raincoat. You filthy swine! I will kill you!
Stimpy realizes that Ren is unhappy, and rather than try and comprehend the source of this unhappiness and work to change it, Stimpy instead builds a mind control helmet that will force Ren to be happy 24/7. The result twists Ren's body out of proportion, forcing a painful smile on him and torturing him relentlessly.
Hey! What's happening to me? No! Got to fight it!
Things culminate when Stimpy brings over a record by Stinky Weasel Teats, John Kay doing a Burl Ives parody, and the two dance to the show's breakout hit, Happy Happy Joy Joy.
Happy happy joy joy, 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 happy happy joy joy joy. I don't think you're happy enough.
If you only know one thing from Ren and Stimpy, it's almost certainly Happy Happy Joy Joy. It was a major early 90s earworm, something that a lot of kids sang on the bus to school, and it featured a lot in the promotional material for the show. It was on the Best of Nicktoons album from 1998. The Ren and Stimpy documentary is named after the song. The official Nick Rewind video of it on YouTube has nearly 5 million views, and you can find several animations online that use different characters dancing to the song.
Happy happy joy joy, happy happy joy joy, happy happy joy joy, happy happy joy joy.
Stimpy's invention is pretty wild. Black Hole is silly in a very duck-amuck kind of way. We're just having fun and turning our main characters into different shapes. It's easy and a little juvenile. Stimpy's invention is silly in a cynical, mean-spirited way, taking a crack at the don't worry be happy attitude of the times, presenting forced joy as twisted and wrong. In many ways, this is the definitive episode of the show, the thesis statement of Ren and Stimpy and where it fit in the landscape of early 90s children's animation. And it's also the short that pretty much doomed the show, because the production of Stimpy's Invention was a nightmare. The short was conceived early in development, and was fully written and storyboarded as early as February 1991, which you might have noticed was a whole year before it was released. According to notorious prima donna, asshole, and groomer of underage girls, John Kay, the problem was Nickelodeon. It took longer because it took forever for them to approve it. They wanted me to throw it out completely when they saw the storyboard. They just did not get it. Finally, I had to throw myself on my knees and just beg Vanessa Coffey to let me do it. It is true that Nickelodeon had concerns, especially the body horror we see when Ren puts on the happy helmet, but that was just the typical back and forth between production and the network. Pretty much everyone who isn't John Kay agrees that the problem was John Kay. A boisterous perfectionist, John Kay micromanaged the short to death, drawing and redrawing and redrawing and redrawing layouts well past the show's premiere in August of 1991. Simple things like the box Stimpy gives the stay put socks in were sent through several rounds of design, John Kay always being unsatisfied with the results. John told me to make it girly. I started mixing paint and gave him about 4 or 5 versions to choose from. This went on for about a month. There must have been at least 50 versions of the present. He ended up choosing the very first one I ever did, and I don't think he was ever really happy with it. These constant revisions cost a lot of money. And it wasn't just painstaking micromanaging, it was the toxic attitude John Kay took when talking to his staff. If he didn't like what you were doing, he let you know. He comes storming into our workspace and yells at me in front of everyone, "You're wrong!" and storms out. He wasn't kidding around, he was really fucking angry. And I remember looking at Chris Riccardi, I don't know what that was for. And Chris says, "Welcome to the club." John Kay was so slow to finalize things that Canadian animation studio Carbuncle Cartoons, who had done the cell animation for shorts like Space Madness and Fire Dogs, had to temporarily lay off its staff. It was taking that long for Spumco to send work their way. Inexplicably, through all of this, Nickelodeon had greenlit a second season. Sure, Spumco couldn't get 6 episodes out of the door in time, but audience interest in Ren and Stimpy made this seem justified. Black Hole / Stimpy's Invention was advertised as a lost episode by Nickelodeon, making it all the more enticing, and Stimpy's Invention would go on to be the show's defining moment. And that sucks, because it vindicated John Kay's process. A year of dragging feet, fretting about over details, delaying production to the point that other companies were in danger of shutting down, maintaining a hostile workplace, and then blaming everything on Nickelodeon. And it all seemed to be worth it in the end because the results were Stimpy's Invention. When you reward bad behavior, you can't be surprised when these bad behaviors continue. These issues, the delays and the conflicts, would only multiply in a season 2, cascading until Nickelodeon finally terminated John Kay's contract in September of 1992. If you'd like to know more about the production of Stimpy's Invention, there's an entire chapter devoted to it in Sick Little Monkeys, the unauthorized Ren and Stimpy story. Stimpy's Invention was a cornerstone moment for the show, one that encapsulated both the best and worst aspects of the Ren and Stimpy show. How it would play out in a macro scale, well, we'll get to that soon. This was just a sample.